welcome. Today I'm making a requested recipe from Joe Thompson. Thank you, Joe, for requesting this. I really appreciate when you guys give me your feedback and what you like to see. But anyway, Banoffee Pie, if you've never heard of it, and it was pretty new to me, is well, at least my version, is going to be a graham cracker crust. And we're going to fill that with some caramel sauce that is so cool and easy to make. You're going to love this. And it's filled with bananas and whipping cream. Now I've added another layer of something, kind of special, and I'll show you that later. And it turned out really great, guys. So I'm Rockin' Robin, and I'm going to show you what that new layer is right after this. So let's go over our ingredients and I'll show you my additional item that I'm adding to this. First up, we have our graham crackers. Now what I did here was I took just some graham crackers and put them in my food processor, processed them till they're nice and fine, just like you see here. And you'll need about a cup and a quarter or so. All right, next up for our crust, we're gonna need some brown sugar because that adds a little nice flavor to it as opposed to regular sugar. I have some cinnamon, some butter. Now for my secret layer, it is chocolate. Now what goes better with graham crackers and caramel and whipping cream than chocolate, right? So I feel like this just fits right in beautifully. So I'm using Guitar chocolate chips because they are, in my view, the very best and I love them. All right, so for our filling, we're gonna take some sweetened condensed milk that I have here, and we're gonna do a process to it, and it's gonna turn into our caramel sauce. You're gonna love that. We'll need some bananas, some heavy whipping cream, and for the whipping cream, we're gonna add a little bit of sugar just for a little flavor and vanilla extract. And then we're gonna top our pie with some chocolate shavings. I'm using some Scharffen Berger chocolate, and we'll make little shavings from that. Let's start off here by preparing our pan for our pie. Now I'm using an 8-inch springform pan, which I've cut out a piece of parchment paper that will fit perfectly in the bottom of it. It doesn't go up the sides because that just makes it more difficult to work with, but just on the bottom. You can use a regular pie plate if you like, or if you don't have a pan like this, you can still get it out of the pan. It's just a little more difficult, so that's why I'm using the springform pan. All right, so we need to talk about our sweetened condensed milk. I took the label off my can. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this in the can. We're not gonna open it. I've got a big pot of water right here, and I'm going to place my can in the water. And we want the can to be covered by at least 2 inches of water throughout the cooking process, because if you don't, it could explode. All right, so that's really important. That's why I'm using such a large pot of water. If you don't have a large one, you're gonna have to keep an eye on it because this is gonna cook for 2.5 hours. We're gonna simmer it. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this on the stove and cook away. Now, obviously, this is definitely something you wanna do ahead of time. It makes a wonderful caramel sauce, almost as if by magic. So, cook some up, maybe the day before you plan to make the pie, and you can just have it ready to go when you need it, all right? And so I'm just gonna cover the pan slightly. That'll keep the water from evaporating too quickly as well. So just keep a partial cover on the pot, and if you want to add water to it, or you need to add water to it, you need to add hot water to it. So have some, in a kettle or, a pan of water, just have it boiling hot, so when you add to it, it doesn't drop the temperature of the water, okay? That's why you do it. So you can keep it simmering and it'll cook properly in, like I said, 2.5 hours. So now we're gonna make our crust. All right, I've got my graham crackers in the bowl here, and I'm gonna add the brown sugar and the cinnamon, and we're gonna mix that up first before we add the butter so that we can get all those flavors mixed throughout our graham crackers. So if you add the butter too soon, before you do that, it's not gonna distribute well and you're not gonna have a very good crust. Now you wanna melt your butter before you add it, so that's what I did here, and I'm just gonna pour it in, and we're gonna stir this up until it looks like wet sand. All right, that looks good. Now we're ready to put this in our springform pan. First, you want to spread everything evenly in the pan before you start pressing it down so that it'll hopefully come out pretty even. So you can start pressing it down, and you can also use a glass, which works pretty nice. Start in the middle and kind of work your way to the edges, and you can still use your hands to kind of feel how things are going. And then for the edges, I kind of push it to the edges. It's not going to go up super high on this. So I'm just kind of pushing it to the side and then pushing it down a little bit at the top so that it's compacted. So now all we have to do is place our crust in the refrigerator for about an hour to let it chill up, and it'll firm up even more. I've melted my chocolate in the microwave. You can do it in a double boiler if you like. So get it melted, and now it's time to spread this layer over our graham crackers, which have been in the refrigerator for about an hour. Half a cup of chocolate chips is a good amount. You don't want this layer to be too thick because then it'll be harder to cut, because we're going to put this in the refrigerator and it's going to firm up and get crispy, right? All right, so this is going back in the refrigerator. So now we're going to move on to the caramel sauce. Now, that can that I was cooking on the stove needs to cool completely before you open it, okay? That's really important, again, because you don't want things to, they can be under pressure and, you know, things can get crazy. Now it's time to open our can of caramel sauce to see how it turned out. Now I'm going to give it a little stir, kind of loosen things up a bit. It's pretty thick, which is the way caramel sauce should be, right? Now you want to wait until your chocolate is fully cold, right? Because that way you can spread this caramel sauce on top. So just spread this all the way around. Like I said, it's pretty thick, pretty challenging to spread. You don't want the bananas in there first because, man, trying to spread it over those would be just nearly impossible. So now I'm going to slice my bananas into chunks. And then we're going to place these, and I'm going to kind of push them in, okay? I'm going to submerge them into the caramel sauce. So go ahead and push them down until they sink. And then I like to cut them into smaller pieces and to fill in the nooks and crannies. So now we're just going to whip up our whipping cream. Put that cream in a bowl. I'm going to add a splash, about a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to whip this up. And we're going to keep this to soft peaks. We don't want this to be super firm. We want it to be nice and light and fluffy. Toss in some sugar. Okay, that's what you're looking for, nice and fluffy. So we just top this up with nice little billows of whipping cream. Now you don't want to add too much sugar to your whipping cream because it's already sweet with the caramel sauce, so you don't want to overdo it. And if you wanted to make this gluten-free, you certainly could. All you have to do is find some gluten-free graham crackers, which I know there's some out there, and that's pretty much all you need to do. And then I'm going to top this with some shavings of chocolate, which will be a nice finish. So basically I'm just going to take my knife, that whipped cream off of there, and just cut little strips, which will make little shavings of chocolate. And this stays in the fridge until you're ready to serve it. I would let this chill up for about an hour before serving it, just to make sure everything's nice and cold. And that's all there is to it. So in the fridge we go. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed my Banoffee pie. Joe, thank you for requesting it. Happy to do it. If any of you have any requests for me, leave them down below in the comments. If you have any questions or other comments, leave them down there and I'll be sure and see them. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, be sure and click the subscribe button. And there's also a bell next to that subscribe button. And if you click that, it'll give you notifications when my new videos come out. All right, so you won't miss any. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.